2 student loan bills. Same person, same job, same salary, same loan, down to the last dollar of the balance. One bill says about $80 a month. The other says $229. Nobody got a raise. Nobody missed a payment. Nobody borrowed another cent. The only thing that changed between those two numbers is the formula that produced them. And here's the part that bothers me. If you got one of those letters this summer, the letter does not tell you which part of the formula moved. It tells you that you have 90 days. So let's do the thing nobody does. Let's open the formula up and look at what is actually inside it. By the end of this, you will be able to sit down with your own income and work out where your number comes from. Not guess at it, work it out. I am not going to tell you which plan to pick. That is a decision about your life, and I do not know your life. What I can do is show you the machine. Let's start with the letter, because that is the object at the center of this story. On the 1st of July 2026, a repayment plan called SAVE stopped existing. A court order earlier in the year had already gutted almost all of it. In its place, a new plan opened for enrollment, called the Repayment Assistance Plan. Everybody shortens it to RAP. The Department of Education says 7.5 million people were sitting inside SAVE when it ended. Servicers started mailing exit notices in July. Each borrower gets at least 90 days to choose a new plan, and the clock does not start when they mail it. It starts when you receive yours, which means there is no single national deadline. There are 7.5 million separate deadlines. If you do nothing for those 90 days, you are not left alone. You get moved automatically into the standard plan, or into a new one called the tiered standard plan. We will come back to that, because doing nothing turns out to be the most expensive thing in this entire story. Now the machine. Here is something that took me an embarrassingly long time to see. An income-driven student loan payment, no matter what the plan is called, no matter which administration built it, is decided by 4 dials. Only 4. Dial 1, protected income. How much of what you earn gets set aside before the math even starts. Dial 2, the rate. What percentage gets charged on whatever is left after that. Dial 3, household. How many people that income is feeding. Dial 4, the clock. How many years of payments before whatever is left over gets written off. That is it. That is the whole machine. And notice what is not on that list. Your interest rate is not one of the 4 dials. Neither is your balance. On these plans, the size of your debt does not set your monthly payment. Your income does. The balance only decides how long the machine runs. That is genuinely strange the first time you hear it. 2 people with the same salary and wildly different debts can owe the same amount every month. We have just never had it explained to us that way. So, 4 dials. Which one moved in 2026? Here is the answer, and it is the single most important sentence in this video. For 30 years, every one of these plans worked the same way. First, you draw a line. The line is set at some multiple of the federal poverty guideline. Everything you earn below that line is protected. It does not get touched. Then you take only the income above the line and you charge a percentage of that. The money above the line has a name, discretionary income, and every plan since 1994 has been an argument about where to draw that line and what percentage to charge above it. RAP does not move the line. RAP removes the line. Under RAP, there is no protected income at all. The percentage is applied straight to your adjusted gross income, all of it, from the first dollar. Instead of a line, there's a ladder. If your adjusted gross income is $10,000 or less, you pay a flat $10 a month. From there, the rate climbs 1 percentage point for every additional $10,000 of income. 1%, then 2, then 3, and so on, until it caps out at 10% for anyone earning more than $100,000. I want to slow down here, because this is where almost every explanation I read went wrong. Under SAVE, someone with only undergraduate loans paid 5%. Under RAP, someone earning in the $50,000 to $60,000 range also pays 5%. Read those 2 sentences quickly and it sounds like nothing happened. Same number, same 5%. But the 5% is not being charged on the same thing. Let's actually run it. And to be clear about what I'm doing, this is one specific case, single filer, no dependents, undergraduate loans only. Your situation will produce a different number. The point is the shape of the math, not this particular person. Say your adjusted gross income is $55,000. Under SAVE, first you draw the line. Save protected 225% of the federal poverty guideline. For a single person in 2026, that guideline is $15,960. Multiply it out, and the protected amount is $35,910. Subtract that from $55,000, and you are left with $19,090 of discretionary income. Charge 5% of that, and you get $954.50 a year. Divide by 12. $79.54 a month. Now the same person under rep, no line. $55,000 of income lands in the 5% rung of the ladder. 5% of $55,000 is $2,750 a year. Divide by 12. $229.17 a month. Same person, same loan, same 5%, nearly 3 times the payment. The rate did not change, the denominator did. And once you see that, a second thing falls into place. Watch what happens further down the income scale. Take someone earning $30,000. Under save, the protected amount is still $35,910, which is more than they earn. So their discretionary income is 0. 5% of 0 is 0. Their payment was $0 a month. That 0 was not a pause. It was not forbearance. It was not a favor anyone granted them. It was arithmetic. The formula ran, and the formula returned nothing. Under RAP, $30,000 lands on the 2% rung. 2% of $30,000 is $600 a year, $50 a month. And there is no way back to 0, because there is nothing left to subtract. The floor is written into the plan, $10 a month, minimum, no matter what. You can knock $50 off for each dependent you claim, but you can never go below that 10. In a survey of 842 borrowers run by the Student Debt Crisis Center in July, 27% of the people who answered said they had been paying 0 under save. In that same survey, 91% expected their payment to rise, and about half expected it to rise by $500 or more, with a median new payment of $560. I want to be careful with those numbers. That is 842 people who chose to answer a survey. It is not a random sample of the country, and it should not be read as one. What it does tell you is which direction people are moving, and how hard. Now let me tell you the part that surprised me, because it cuts the other way. When a bill goes up, we reach for the obvious explanation. It must be the interest. Rates went up. They are charging me more. That is not what happened here. On this one dial, RAP is not worse. It is arguably better. Like Save before it, RAP waives unpaid interest. If your required payment does not cover the interest that accrued that month, the leftover interest is written off. Your balance does not quietly inflate while you are making every payment on time. For anyone who lived through the older plans, where unpaid interest piled up and then got folded back into the principal, that is not a small thing. RAT goes one step further. Every on-time payment is guaranteed to knock down your principal by the amount you paid, up to $50. Whatever interest is still uncovered after that gets waived. So the balance moves down every month, even for people paying very little. So let's be precise about what got more expensive, because precision is the whole point of this video. It was not the interest rate, it was the denominator, and it was the clock. Which brings us to dial 4. Under the older plans, the clock ran 20 years for undergraduate borrowers, 25 if there was graduate debt in the mix. Under RAP, there is one number for everybody, 30 years. 360 payments, then whatever is left is forgiven. Public service is the exception, and it is unchanged. Public service loan forgiveness is still 120 qualifying payments over 10 years, and payments made under RAP count toward it. There is one more thing about that ladder that almost nobody mentions, and I only found it buried in the technical write-ups. The income brackets are not indexed to inflation. They are fixed dollar amounts written into the law, which means that as wages drift upward over the next decade, people will climb the ladder without earning any more in real terms. The plan gets quietly less generous every year it exists, without anyone voting on it again. Now, back to the 90 days, and to the most expensive option in this entire story, which is the option that requires no effort at all. If the clock runs out and you have not chosen, you get placed into the standard plan, or the new tiered standard plan. The tiered standard plan sets a fixed term based on what you owe. Under $25,000, 10 years. Between $25,000 and $50,000, 15 years. Between $50,000 and $100,000, 20 years. Above that, 25 years. It does not look at your income at all. It has no forgiveness at the end. You pay the balance plus the interest over a fixed number of years, and then you're done. For some people, that is genuinely the right outcome. For a lot of others, it is the highest monthly number on the menu, arrived at by not opening an envelope. I want to be careful how I say this next part, because it would be easy to turn it into a lecture, and it is not one. Defaults win. That is not a statement about willpower. It is a design fact. Whoever decides what happens when a person does nothing has, in practice, made the decision for most people. Every system that has ever been studied works this way, from retirement plans to organ donation to software settings. The option that requires no action is the option most people end up with. So when a system sets a default, it is making a choice on behalf of millions of people who never see the choice being made. That is worth knowing, and it has nothing to do with anyone being careless. Let's zoom out, because none of this is new. It just looks new if you arrived in the middle. In 1994, the first income-driven plan opened. It was called Income Contingent Repayment. The line was drawn at 100% of the poverty guideline. The rate above the line was 20%. The clock ran 25 years. In 2009, income-based repayment arrived. The line moved up to 150%. The rate came down to 15%. The clock stayed at 25 years. In 2012, another plan pushed the rate down to 10% and cut the clock to 20 years. A revised version in 2015 opened it up to more borrowers. In 2023, SAFE pushed the line all the way up to 225% and the rate down to 5% for undergraduate borrowers. And in 2026, RAP erased the line, replaced the single rate with a ladder from 1 to 10% and pushed the clock out to 30 years. 6 plans, 32 years, 4 dials, turned over and over. Your loan documents never changed. The interest rate on your loan is the same today as the day it was signed. What kept changing was the table that turns your income into a number. Something like 42.5 million people in this country hold federal student loans, roughly $1.7 trillion worth as of the end of March 2026. Every single one of those monthly payments is the output of a table like this one, and almost none of us were ever shown the table. So, let's go back to where we started. 2 bills, about $80 and $229. Same person, same job, same debt. The difference between them is not a difference in that person. It is not a measure of how responsible they are, or how hard they work, or how well they planned. It is a difference in which version of a table was enforced the month the bill printed. That is the thing I would want someone to hand me if I were opening one of those envelopes right now. The number on your statement is not a verdict on you. It is the output of a formula. It has exactly 4 inputs, and this year somebody changed the second one and the fourth one. You cannot vote on the table, but you can know which cells moved, and you can work out your own number instead of waiting to be told it. That will not make the payment smaller. It does change what the number means when you look at it. And that is the difference between a bill that feels like a judgment and a bill that is just a bill. This has been Fortune and Folly. Educational only, not financial advice.